Hello, welcome everybody to the SPL Team of the Season task for our first 11 episode to the live stream. It's been a while. Actually, no, it's not been a while. Yeah, it's actually last week. Did we go live last week?
Did we? Oh, we did
Yeah,
it.
we
You
did.
were
We did.
sick. It was
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sunday. We
Yeah,
did
yeah,
it
yeah.
like
We did. We did.
virtually.
Yeah, we did it virtually on Sunday. Welcome everyone. It's been a while. We are great. We are glad to be back. I hope you guys enjoyed the YouTube video of us reviewing the kits. It's still back in the board, so it's still in order. You guys agree with us? Let us know. Balestier with a spanking beautiful kit. Albirex Tampines Rovers. Let's see. We've got the usual guys. Guys, what's up? What's up? We've got Marcus. We've got Jensen, we've got Dura Yusuf. Welcome, mate. Good evening. Good evening. So later there'll be an open discussion. So don't worry. I think today we're gonna do a. It's been a while since we had an open discussion, so we'll definitely do one later. Josh, what are your thoughts? No, actually, you know what? Let's do the usual first 5 minutes intro. And yeah, I'm very surprised that Napoli still can't win the Scudetto. Yeah, the Scudetto. It's been a while.
Yeah, I think they will eventually. I mean, they've
Yep.
waited 33 years,
Yep.
if I'm correct. So I mean, what's another
One
few
few
days?
days.
Maybe a few weeks. I think they have quite a tough game tonight away at Udinese.
Yeah, it wouldn't easy. So, but the thing is, right? Like, can you imagine if they won at the Stadio Diego Armando Maradona Stadium? It was packed full of people. I think that was such a wasted chance not to win it there.
I mean, Inter got the comeback win.
Yeah.
So the whole stadium, I think the whole city was like releasing
Yeah.
fireworks on that day. So just unfortunate 84th minute equalizer
That was
was
a
scored
beautiful
to
goal. We saw
deny
that.
them.
We saw the highlight together, right? That
Yeah.
goal was beautiful. Apparently, it's a derby. Seletinaria and Napoli.
Yeah, sometimes
Yeah.
you just need to get the 3 points. Maybe the nerves got
Got the
bit
better of
of
them.
the better of them. They try to defend deep, but you just conceded the goal.
Yep. Okay, so welcome everyone. We wait for people to slowly stream in. It's been a while since. Yeah, I think today's stream is going to be quite a long one, so be prepared. We're going to talk a little bit about the round one of Singapore Premier League. Round one of Singapore Premier League has been pretty interesting, and we want to go through it. Yeah, well, I would say not say in true detail, right? But then also we're going to go through our team of the season task. We'll justify our picks for our first 11, and yeah, we'll go through some storylines here and there, and then we will have an open discussion later. Right. So without further ado, anything else? Man City just beat West Ham 3-0. They're top of the table right now with one game in end.
I think so. Probably not a topic you like talking about after like I think 30 game weeks. Arsenal being
on top.
of the league. There's this stat like they've been on top 91% of the season,
Yep.
something like that, and that's the longest ever time a club has been on top. But I mean, when you have Man City chasing you with the experience and mentality to
Yep.
cope with the pressure at this stage, it's
Yeah.
never going to be easy. I think you're gonna look at the Southampton game, the West Ham game as probably the games that
He's
might
gonna
have
rule
tripped
us.
Arsenal up
Yeah,
a
yeah,
little
yeah,
bit.
definitely. 2 games in hand. Jensen did 2 games in hand, and Marcus said that Real Madrid lose and Barca win the next game week. Excuse me, Barca will be crowned champions. Barcelona. Hey, they haven't been crowned champions in a while, right? 2-3 years.
Yeah, I mean, they struggle a bit with Coleman. Now Xavi's back last season. It's a bit disappointing, I think, but he's proven this year that he could wrestle the title back. I mean, Atletico had quite a slow start.
Yes.
They've picked up in recent times. But is it too late? Real Madrid
is what, third now, right? If I'm not wrong, I think they dropped to third. Yeah.
they can't replicate their form in Europe in the league. So that's
I mean, if they do win the Champions League, they go through against City in semis, and maybe they face one of the Milan clubs and they win it. I think it's still a successful season. After all.
I mean, now in terms of relegation, promotion, Premier League is heating up as well.
Yeah, heating
Burnley
up.
and Sheffield up, and it's anyone's game. I think from 3rd to 6th.
Yep, for the championship up. Who are the clubs? We have Luton. We have
Coventry is still in it.
Yeah, I think so. Preston North End, if I'm not wrong.
Blackburn is
in
yes,
and
Blackburn. Around.
Yeah.
A chance.
Millwall, I think got out of the racing. So yeah, it's quite a tight affair. And also relegation, right? Who are the 3? I saw in our chat the day they were talking about like relegation.
Could be any of the bottom 5. I think Leicester, Everton,
Forest,
Southampton.
Southampton, I think going down.
I think these 5. West Ham they could still be dragged in.
Yep.
Maybe I think they're about 2-3 points clear, but yeah, it's quite interesting.
I think West Ham got in the bag. I think they've got in the bag. I do think Leicester, Southampton, and Forest. I think. Yeah, I reckon. Okay, so without further ado, we are 5 minutes in. Let's go through our agenda today. So, SPL Premier League season, round 1, right? 9 games. So, it's match week 9, but there's only been like 8 games played for most of the teams, right? So without further ado, we'll go through the game week 10 preview first, and then we'll go through the season transfer for each team, right? So, first game we have Tampines versus Balestier, which will be played tomorrow at our Tampines Hub, 7:45, 7:30, 7:45, if I'm not wrong. Yes, so Tampines versus Balestier. It's great to see some football back in Singapore. I don't know whether I want to catch this game. Maybe I will, but my bad. I do see a easy win for Tampines coming from a long break, and I think Tampines will edge this one up. Your thoughts, Josh?
Yeah, if I'm wrong, the reverse fixture was 3-1, and it could have been a lot more. Boris actually, I think that was probably his best game of the season out against Madu, where he missed like at least 3 to 4 big opportunities. So I can see where you're coming from. That would be quite easy. I mean, I do think Balestier will get a goal or two, especially if they have their full complement. But defensively, they've looked quite shaky.
Yeah.
So I do see Tampines getting probably quite a number of goals.
Yeah, I do think so too. And Aloysius had rightly pointed out that finally back at OTH. Yeah, it's definitely back at OTH. I think we just can confirm it that they did their inspections, and now we are back. Football is back at Tampines Hub. After the field been getting wrecked quite a bit.
Yeah.
Excuse me. As you can see, I'm still not really fully recovered, but I'm good. I'm good. Yeah. So you think it's a goals galore here?
Maybe I'm gonna predict like a 4-1 Tampines victory.
4-1. Damn. Okay, 4-1. Actually when we were watching the DPMM live, DPMM game live against Tampines, we also thought it was gonna be like goals galore after 2 early goals, but then Tampines head back, played more comfortable football, and then it ended up 2-0 in the end. You know what? I'm gonna go 3-1 here.
Yeah, same as the reverse fixture.
Yeah, same as the reverse fixture as well. I think 3-1. I think Boris will finally score a goal. It's been out. Am I right to say it's been a drought for him so far?
Drought for his standards, maybe 2 to 3 games, but for him, I think we're used to see him score every game, or maybe the odd game he might not score, but every other game at least.
I do see Boris scoring this game because of Balestier's defense. They are looking quite shaky at the back. Although they came off a very impressive victory over Tanjong Pagar, the previous game week. And Tanjong Pagar, could rule themselves a bit unlucky because they are very good at the back, but then Balestier with their good offensive threat, they took advantage of that. But I do see Tampines winning comfortably and back to their winning ways after, and coming back from the round 2 for Singapore Premier League. So yeah, we are going both for victories here, yeah? 4-1 for you, Josh, and 3-1 for me, yeah? Okay, so now we move on to the next game. We have Hougang versus Albirex. Oh dear. Just when you thought that Hougang can kind of like catch a break after coming back from a this extensive break, and then now they're going up against the champions of the Singapore Premier League. Playing at Jalan Besar, if that counts, if that helps. I don't know. I do want to see Hougang bounce back recently, and the last game they played against Tampines and they got a 1-0 draw. Could have been a 1-0 victory if not for Irian Fandi's challenge to Fariz Ramli. A bit unfortunate. He had quite a good debut as well. But yeah, the Hougang, do you see them coming out with a result against Albirex, on fire Albirex?
Well, new manager bounce. Maybe. I think last few games they've been playing a little better.
Yeah.
Now it's got a new manager. Krychek probably last 2 weeks had a bit more time to get back to full fitness. I think that's good for Hougang. And actually in the reverse fixture, they did put up quite a good fight.
Yeah.
I think it was
2-0,
like 2-0. Albirex did have more chances, but Hougang were relatively solid in that game.
Yep.
So I do think hopefully they've been working a bit on their offensive play because goals have been hard to come by. But I think overall, the options Albirex have on the bench, the stamina, I think second half might prove too much for Hougang.
Second half. Yeah, I know. And we've always repeatedly said on the show that Hougang is quite bad as a second half team, right?
Yeah.
They usually struggle in the second half. But yeah. Score predictions for this game, Josh.
It was a tough one. I'm not sure I see Hougang scoring, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think I might go same as the Community Shield.
3-0. That is actually quite a feasible scoreline, in my opinion. You know what? I do see Hougang scoring a goal. I'm going to go 2-1.
New manager bounce, working on their attack during the break. Possible.
Yeah. Possible on the break. But I think 2-1 to Albirex. I don't think Hougang is going to win here. But if they show a spirited performance against Albirex, I think they can look forward to the next game, which is, who's their next fixture? let me see. Hougang United versus their next fixture will be against Geylang on Friday, 12th May. So yeah, I think if they can show a spirited performance, bouncing back against Geylang could be quite a good opportunity for them to get their season back on track, right? So yeah, both Albirex win here. We won't talk into detail about the teams because we're going to go through like their analysis of each team later on after this portion. Yeah. So next up we have DPMM versus Tanjong Pagar at Jalan Besar as well. I think this is on Saturday. Yeah. Or Sunday game. I'm not too sure.
It
Saturday.
might have been moved because I saw they did move some of the fixtures due to
their
the change in venue, right?
Yeah.
Because they're not going to play in Brunei anymore.
Yeah, let me check just to confirm. They're playing on Sunday. Yeah. So Sunday 6 p.m. So this game will be together with the Sailors Geylang game. Yeah. But one will be at Jalan Besar and then the other will be at our Tampines Hub. So DPMM versus Tanjong Pagar. You know what? I want Tanjong Pagar to win this game after their disappointing 4-2 loss against Balestier. I do want Tanjong Pagar to rebounce back, and I think Rising Jaguars will agree with me, right? Yeah, Sunday. So, yeah, DPMM is looking a bit shaky. Maybe after a 2 weeks break, they can kind of rebound back. Against Tampines, they were rather flat. Will you agree with me?
Yeah, first half especially. Second half, I thought they were quite disciplined, limited. Yeah. Tampines quite few chances, and they did have chances themselves. I think they hit the bar, they had a penalty. So it was much better from them in the second half, but probably a bit too late.
Yeah, too late. And score predictions for this game. I do want Marin to score a goal actually for this. I think he hasn't scored a goal yet, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, so I think he can score a goal. Yeah, Marin hat trick.
I think he might have scored a penalty if memory serves me right, but I could be wrong as well.
Yeah. Has he scored a goal yet? Yeah, I'm not too sure. Let's see. But yeah, so score predictions for this game, Josh.
The last game, Brunei did win 2-1, right? It was like a comeback victory, if I recall correctly.
Yep, Tanjong Pagar up 1-0.
I think it's quite evenly matched, to be honest. It can go either way, so I'm just going to say it's going to be a
draw.
1-1 draw.
Yeah, 1-1 draw can be quite. He did score the penalty versus Hougang, so that was So at least he's got one goal, lah. So he's already got his accounts underway. But I don't know, man. DPMM Tanjong Pagar draw. I was very impressed of Tanjong Pagar with the first 20 minutes of the game, even though they considered 3 goals, right? But they scored the 2 goals in quick succession. Was really nice. Tajali and who's the other guy who scored? I can't remember, but yeah, Tajali's goal was really nice. I really missed Tajali in Geylang. I think he was a big part of their late season search for Geylang last year. Rising Jaguar says he's going to win 8-0. I highly doubt that's going to happen, but I think this game, so Josh is going for a draw. I'm going to go for... Wait, you say what? 1-0?
1-0.
Damn, that's actually quite good. Another feasible... Shaki Hamza scored. I'm going to go for 1-0 Tanjong Pagar. A bit biased to this, to a bit of the local class, but I do see Tanjong Pagar aging this out. Yeah. So Tanjong Pagar hope they can get their season also, more consistent. I think right now that's what they need, right? A bit more consistency in their league. So last game for the week, we have Geylang versus Lion City Sailors, right? Oh no, where's my... Okay, I didn't put the banner. So Geylang versus Lion City Sailors. I do hope that this is a bang of a game because I'll be there, right? I think Josh also will be there as well. There'll be a few our friends as well going, so that'll be good to see. And Geylang versus Sailors. Do you think that Geylang can get a result from this game?
I think they can actually.
Yeah.
If they do play up to their full potential.
Yeah.
But of course, Sailors, they do have a lot more quality. We have the likes of Shawal even on the bench.
Yeah.
And
anytime.
Balestier and Lopez, potentially the first start for Bernie, you might see.
Because Abdul Razak is at the SEA Games, right? So I think Bernie will definitely start this game. So
lots of Singapore internationals. So quality-wise, Sailors have it. But I think Geylang as a team, if they do show up, they actually can put up quite a good fight.
Yeah, I think Geylang, the problem is that their first 11 is always quite a strong lineup. And it's just that some of their players have not risen up to the occasion, right? I think one of the more disappointing players would be Tezuka. I think Tezuka was on fire last year. This year, I think in the midfield, in his new role, I don't know, he's looked a bit shaky. Huzaifa as well looked really... I think Huzaifa is also quite a good presence in the midfield. Zain as well. Love to watch Sailors play again in the stadium. Okay. Nice. So, unfortunately, it won't be the same stadium. Zahin's talking about the Borussia Sailors game, right? Where it was, 7-2?
Yeah.
For Borussia? Yeah. So just to sidetrack a bit, Borussia now is second again in the Bundesliga. They screwed it up. They drew against who did they draw?
Bochum, right?
Is it Bochum?
Is it pronounced as Bochum?
Yeah. Wait, Bochum isn't they? Aren't they like struggling in the Bundesliga as well?
If I'm wrong, they've been picking up of late.
Yeah. So VFL Bochum, right? Let's see. Yep, they are third from the bottom.
It's also very tight, the relegation fight in the
Oh, I didn't know Hertha Berlin is already like relegated. Oh damn, Hertha Berlin. That's quite a historic club. Historical. Oh, Stuttgart, Schalke, both big clubs as well.
Four more
Hoffenheim.
games. Schalke have had a bit. They had poor start as well. But
Yeah,
they've been
yeah.
on a upward trajectory.
Yep. So Bochum, unfortunate for Dortmund. Sorry, Zahin. I think don't talk about, let's talk about Singapore football. Yeah. But just a fun fact, Bill's Chromebook is a Bayern fan, so we're all represented here with the Bayern and Borussia Dortmund representation here. Anyways, back to the topic. So Geylang. Tampines Hub. The last time they played this year, Geylang got trashed 3-0 at Bishan lah.
Yeah, it was quite comfortable.
A very comfortable win for Sailors. So I don't know which Geylang are we going to see on Sunday? I really don't know, right? Are we going to see a full potential, good football playing from the back, like a defensive Geylang side, or are we going to see Sailors run rampant at Tampines Hub?
Yeah, to put it, would it be the Geylang that played against Tampines or the Geylang that played against Sailors and Albirex?
Yeah. Also, JT said that the pitch is still quite patchy, in my opinion. So, I saw your stories, right, JT? You've been like going to the stadium quite often. So do you think this is going to be a huge factor? I think it's going to play a detrimental effect for both teams, lah. It's not only to one team, so it's going to be quite sad to see. And I don't think they could like last minute go to like another stadium because of all the stadiums being like utilized by the other matchups as well. Near my house on here, see all these Tampines fans all near Tampines Hub. Good to see. Hey, but thanks for the update. Yeah. So Dura says I said don't have Abdul Razak. Now he's representing Singapore. Before we move on to the analysis, right, we'll go through. Maybe we can talk a little bit about the SEA Games, right? And then once we talk about SEA Games, we can also go through our some fun games that we have. Anyway, I just realized the background is wrong. It's not Gameweek night, but whatever. So predictions for this game, Josh.
Well, I do think Sailors are going to win.
Okay.
I see Geylang scoring, but probably a 3-1 win. I mean, Sailors have a lot of 3-0 and 3-1s this year.
Yep.
Be a 3-1 for me.
3-1 for Sailors. You know what? I gotta rep the boys in green. I gotta rep Mr. Eagle himself. I don't know what's his name, Mr. Eagle, right? I've gotta rep them. 2-1 Geylang. Come from behind win. I think Leicester is going to open the scorings, and then I think Sailors are going to miss crucial chances. It's going to be a repeat of the Young Lions game, and then Geylang will bounce back. I think Noor Ali will rally the boys back to a 2-1 victory, rousing victory against Sailors. And, I think if they do win this game, Geylang will go above Sailors, if I'm not wrong.
I think it's possible. Either level or maybe even above.
Oh, yeah. You see, it's funny how I rep the boys in green, but then I'm wearing a Sailors kit. Thanks, JT. No, I don't support LCS. I support Geylang actually, but I just wear my kits. Bezakot. Vini Bezakot. Okay, anyways, let's move on. So, I got to do, JT, why? Because I got to do some reverse psychology, right? I have to, act like a Sailors fan, but actually I'm from behind. I need to, root the boys in green. Let's move on to our analysis, right? I think there's been quite a comprehensive predictions. Hopefully our predictions are right. I would say Josh predictions are quite solid. Yeah. So anyways, let's move on to the standings. So yes, if I'm not, but I think goal difference, even if they win, it's going to be a bit tough. Level on points, right? So this is the current standing thus far. So yeah, let's move on to the analysis of SPL round 1. We'll start out with the top of the table, which is Albirex Niigata. Yeah. What are your thoughts about Albirex this year, Josh? Is it no surprise that they are top of the league after round 1?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, when we talk about the preview at the start of the season, we always say how Albirex and unknown
commodity.
They lost a lot of players from last year. We talk about Ilhan leaving, we talk about Idet, so all the crucial players. Kodai. So we don't know who is coming in. I think they've actually think their team is better this season.
Yeah. They look much more comfortable in the midfield, especially. I think last year they depend a lot heavily on Kodai and Ilhan to get the goals, and they look pretty shaky at the back.
Both Kobayashis.
Yeah,
Kobayashi. But I mean, besides the Tampines game, I think we can agree the Tampines game they did have an off day. Yep. It wasn't the Albirex that we were used to seeing.
Yeah.
other than that, the amount of clean sheets is just scary, to be honest.
Mm.
I mean, to keep teams out as easily as they have. Okay, because Sailors did play 10 men a lot of that game. But the other games, the most they concede is 1 goal.
Yeah.
And you know what they say, if you don't concede, you won't lose games.
Yep, and you'll probably win the championship. Defense wins championships usually most of the time, right? And yeah, Albirex defense has been looking really good. As you can see in the form right on the screen, right? My God. This what? 5 clean sheets for Hassan Sani.
5 out of 8.
5 out of 8. And then Geylang had to spoil. It could have been it could have been another clean sheet for against Balestier and against Geylang, right? So Albirex this year, there are top players. There's quite a few players to point out, right? Number 6, Yoko Kawa, the Mr. Captain himself. Riku has been fantastic off the bench. Shuto as well. Shuto's what, number 10? It's 7. Right. Ogawa is number 8, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, number 7, Shuta. And then their star man up front, the talisman, Seiya Kunori.
They have a quality of the bench as well that they like to throw on. Takahashi had some very good games.
Yep.
A bit inconsistent, but the Sailors game, he was fantastic.
Takahashi is their number 2, right?
Yeah.
Right back. He looks like a centre back. He's got the imposing, figure behind for Albirex. But yeah, I think Takahashi has also been quite crucial in their defense, going up to build the play from the back. But yeah, I think I can agree with Josh. Right? This year's Albirex team looks even scarier than last year.
Yeah, I think what's scary is Albirex tend to start season slowly.
Yep.
This Albirex has just hit the ground running. So I think more to come in the next 2 rounds.
Yep, more to come indeed. And you know what? I do want to see Riku start more games. I think he deserves the chances for the team. And yeah, I do believe that Riku will come on more and be a more of an impactful player. I think he's really kind of an impactful sub off the bench, right? But he's only started like 3 games or 2 games, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah. About half of the games, I think.
Yeah. So Marcus with a great comment says Albirex is impressive. Individual quality has gave them good goals. Yes.
Yeah, you can see the goals coming from anywhere, to be honest. The goals are quite evenly spread, besides Seiya, of course.
Yep. Yeah, they got what was his name? Let me see. I've got the Albirex lineup here with me. Number 11, Komatsu, and they've got the number 14 for Yokoyama. Yokoyama starts the game quite often.
And I mean, even though Tadanari Lee hasn't scored many goals, his contribution is still there. The experience, the build-up play, the link-up play has been great.
Very, very experienced. Very, he's kind of like what Boris is doing for Tampines. Well, he holds the play up really well. He does that fancy back heels here and there to kind of open the play for the wingers, and also for again, you see the names for Yokoyama and Ogawa to feed through the lines, and especially Kunari as well. And Kunari's got 7 goals right now. So I think it's great to see Albirex on fire. Do you see them slipping up a bit? I don't know. Their next games against Hougang, if they do slip up against Hougang, I think maybe it can show a bit of the cracks.
I mean, I can only see 2 teams getting results against them, which is Sailors and Tampines. Tampines have shown that they can do it already with a very good display. Sailors, for the first 15 minutes of the game, they're actually matching up. But the red card, so I think that was unfortunate for them. But the other teams, I think Albirex have generally been very, very comfortable.
Actually, I can't wait for the next Sailors Albirex game. They've not won. Sailors has only won Albirex 1 time, which is the Community Shield last year, right?
Yeah, correct.
So I do want to see the Sailors pull up a victory against Albirex. It'll be quite good to see. But yeah. So like Josh, what you say, if they keep this up, right, this form, let's just say they only drop points to Sailors and Tampines, right, we are actually going to look at the 2023 SPL champions right here, right? If they don't drop other points elsewhere, which is quite hard, seeing the form, right?
It would take a very, very off day, I would think.
Yeah, very off, a big off day from them to kind of drop points. All right, so let's move on to the next team, which we have 1 point behind them is Tampines Rovers, JT's team, right? Tampines Rovers hasn't lost yet. They're still unbeaten. I would say that against Hougang, they were pretty lackluster, right? The draw. Yeah. And first game of the season as well against Geylang, they conceded a 40-second goal, and then they bounced back, but they couldn't get the victory there. But other than that, all the other games have been really, really impressive, right? So Tampines looking real good. Who are the top players for you from this Tampines side, Josh?
I mean, without a doubt, this season will be Faris. And Milos, I would say. These 2. Very, very impressive. Kyoga, you know what you get from him.
Yep.
Boris, you could say he's been decent, but we know that he can
capable of much more.
Yeah. I think overall their new signings have looked good actually. I think they've recruited really well. Shah and Joel coming back has been great for them.
Big boost in the midfield.
Milos has been a great signing. Glenn has a lot of potential. Defensively, I think he's still a bit suspect.
But especially the own goal he scored against Sailors. There was a
bit more
composure
horror. Probably needed. But overall, I think very impressive to be unbeaten after what, 8 games?
Yeah, 8 games.
And to beat both your title challengers, Sailors and Albirex. Along the way. I think the Geylang game, maybe they were a bit rusty.
Yeah,
first game of the season. You know, we see big teams even sometimes first game they do slip up. And then the Hougang game, maybe the big break was a bit detrimental for them. Took a bit of rhythm off them. And then they came back and drew that game as well.
Yeah, so it seems to be like they maybe now coming off the break tomorrow against Balestier. We did predict a Tampines win, but it seems to be the trend that, you know, after a break or what, they kind of stumble a bit and, you know, get a bit of the engine going a bit slow, not so fluid, right? Not so fluid. Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with you. I think the players that stand out to me is what the players that you mentioned, Faiz Ramli, Kyoga, you know what you get from him. Milos has been a great signing for Tampines. I think this year you can see Tampines showing up the back, and you can they're not like they're not conceding freak goals or like those kind of last minute you know, like very sloppy goals, right? That they tend to concede last year when we were watching them. Do you think that they can keep up this momentum in round 2?
Yeah, I mean, what's really impressed me about Tampines is the control they've shown in games, especially when they're leading. I think when they take the lead, they very rarely lose because they keep the ball so well and manage games very well. I think that was epitomized a lot. Albirex game comes to mind. DPMM game comes to mind as well. I think you look at most games, the most they concede is 1 goal. Besides the Sailors game, I think that game they lost a bit of control at times. They were leading 3-1.
3-1, right?
Came back to 3-2, 4-2, came out 4-3. But other than that, I think they've been excellent at controlling games. So I think that has served them well this season.
Yeah. So hopefully, and also we always stress the point of Tampines having a lot of depth in their squad, right? So I think if injuries play a part for most of the clubs, I think Tampines got quite good replacements off the bench.
Yeah, especially midfield. I think we talk about forward line and Faris gets injured. I think that would be quite concerning.
Yes.
That would be quite concerning indeed.
Actually, yeah, who would?
Most likely Taufik, maybe Glenn playing a bit more forward role. It will be concerning if, say, imagine Taufik and Faris get injured at the same time.
Which Taufik, I think, is still injured right after that's quite a scary head injury he had.
Not too sure. Hopefully it wasn't too serious.
Yeah. So we are looking at Tampines squad right now. I mean, you've got Saifullah on the bench, Firdaus Kasim, you've got Saifullah, mostly a lot of midfields.
A lot of midfielders, not too many forwards.
Yeah, Glenn Hui, if you can kind of reposition him, and then you can put Ryan Sanizel. Is Ryan Sanizel going to Young Lions? I'm not too sure what's the process with him. But yeah, I think they've got a lot of options that they can play, or Gavin can play around with. So, we move on to our next team, right? Next team is Lion City Sailors. Let me just start off with this one. Have they been disappointing this year as well? You know, they've lost twice to, again, 2 teams that, you know, you can kind of drop points against. On fire Tampines and 4-0 victory with the Anu red card, right? But do you think that they've been a bit lackluster, especially the Young Lions draw most recently?
I think that would hurt them.
Yeah.
I mean, you have expected them to win that. With the chances they had, they probably should have, right?
Yeah. But they could have easily got a 3-0 before halftime.
If you look at most games, they've won it by 2 goals.
Yeah.
The games that they've won, at least. And the Albirex game, maybe you can say the red card went into their favor. The Tampines game, I thought they weren't great.
Yeah.
But they still almost managed. They could have got a draw.
Yeah.
At the end, you know, they had that.
The Super scored what, like the 90th minute?
Yeah, and at that time, after that, they did have a couple of set pieces to try and get the equalizer. But, you know, with the
kind of quality that they have,
in the team,
Lopez, Lestian.
Slightly disappointed to have dropped 8 points.
Yeah, and then Kodai also, I mean, he dropped. Kodai was injured after the DPMM game, right? If I'm not wrong. No.
Might have been during the
Albirex.
During the Albirex game.
Yeah, Albirex game. Yeah, I think you're right. Albirex game. So you see, it's this kind of, they're gonna miss they miss Kodai, that's why they quickly went and signed Bernie. Which I think we're gonna see him start, like what you said, right? On Sunday. Now that Abdul Razak is not available for them. But yeah, what are the surprises in this Sailors squad? I mean, they've been a bit lackluster, but Harris Harun playing back in the midfield has been pretty mid. I think not too convincing. Their defense actually looked really good. I think Lionels were a great pickup for them, super as well.
Who came in slightly late as
Yeah,
well, right?
slightly late.
Like
I
3 to
think
4 games in.
he only came in after the. I think his first game was against Balestier, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a lot of changes very early on in the season, changes in centre back, changes striker.
Yeah.
So maybe you could put it down to that. Maybe the team's still gelling, especially when the new foreigners come in.
Yep.
But overall, I mean, you have expected them to be in Tampines' position,
Definitely.
Tampines to be in their position, maybe.
Yeah.
So I think disappointing for sure that Kodai went out after 3 games.
3 games.
A lot was expected of him. Very unfortunate to have gotten injured. But, of course, Lestier, you know what he gives. And I think Razak has been showing that he could actually really develop in this Sailors team.
I mean, Razak has, but I cannot give him a pass for that horror miss against Young Lions, man. That goal, if he had scored against Young Lions, it would have been 2-0, and I think Young Lions would have come back. But yeah, anyways, Sailors have been. Who's going to be LCS striker of if Abdul got SEA Games? It's going to be Bernie, Mr. Jensen. It's going
Might
to be
even be Shawal.
actually
If
Shawal.
the coach thinks Bernie is still not ready.
Yeah, could be Shawal as well. But as you can see, they've got so much attacking options, but plethora of options in front. They can even put Leston up front if they want to, right? And they can shuffle.
Just dribble past the whole defense.
Exactly, they can shuffle Chris to play more of an attacking style, attacking winger as well. So overall, I think we conclude that Sailors have been disappointing with the results. I think they should be at least second with the kind of quality that they have, but maybe round 2 can be a bit more convincing from them.
I think they do have to be stronger in big games.
Yeah,
when that has let them down this season, and of course, every game in the SPL against Albirex, they have not really shown up. So I think next round, they have to improve on that aspect.
You see, if they do play and they win Albirex, they get a result Albirex, they must hope that they do not screw up against the other teams, because sometimes the Sailors this year they look a bit lackluster, and even the first game against Tanjong Pagar, it was 1-1, and then Sugic missed the penalty. Yeah. And then it could have been easily, like a game that they could have drawn, but then the 2 last-minute goals kind of made it look very comfortable as scoreline. But overall, the game wasn't very comfortable. So I think coming off an impressive victory against Hougang, then after that coming off a very, very disappointing draw against Young Lions, I think we can see hopefully that Sailors can bounce back for round 2. All right, next club we have Geylang International. Geylang International, I think the games that they've lost this year, it's all been blown out, right? Tanjong Pagar, they look helpless. Sailors as well, I think, very a cruising victory for the Sailors, and then Albirex trashing at Albirex, right? So, but then with that being said, the victories that they've won, I won't say that they've been really too impressive, right? They've got a strong first 11, but after that, the problem is that their goal difference is -2 right now, because they can't seem to score goals. I think that's the problem with them, right? They're up front, they've got issues. I think they're missing Zuzu tremendously. And they are relying heavily on Yamaya, rightly so, and Vinny, right? Vincent Bannister. So your thoughts about Geylang, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, let's just say they've been the best of the rest.
Okay, fair.
They've
best of the
been
rest.
fairly solid, just a little bit inconsistent.
Yeah.
You have expected more from them against Tanjong Pagar.
Yeah.
I think the Albirex game, the Sailors game, maybe you could say most of the other teams would lose to them, as we've seen this season. I think they did very well against Tampines to get the draw.
Yep.
But overall, with the players that they've lost, I think they've been doing not too bad.
I think if you compare them to Balestier, and they are now higher than Balestier, I think it's quite a fair. You can say that it's been a successful round 1 for Geylang, actually. If I look at the results, right, I think that this is quite expected from them, looking at the squad that they have, right? But I think it's just going to be up front, the forwards, right? Whether he can get the goals. And Lingesh also made a very good point, said that Noor Ali has done his real best and shown that his potential, the limited resources, right? Because Noor Ali, huge props to him, showing his manageable caliber in the Singapore Premier League, and leading his old club to I would say quite a successful round 1, but hopefully they can do much better. Maybe a victory against Tanjong Pagar. I don't know, but Tanjong Pagar also is a club where on their day, I think they're quite scary as well.
Yeah, if they had won Tanjong Pagar, they'll be level with Sailors.
Yeah.
So I think overall they can be quite proud of the start of the season. They have, we have players who aren't really that well known. I mean, people who watch local leagues would know them, like Iqbal and Naufal Asman. They've come in the wings. They've done decently. Scored a few goals here and there. And then, yeah, I mean,
they
don't
I get what
really
you mean.
have that many star names.
Yeah.
But as a team, they've done rather well.
Yeah.
That's how
I think Amr Ali playing behind with Sakuma, right? And then Josh in the midfield with Huzaifa and Vini in the midfield. I think this is where they've shown their core in them. But I think they really do miss Faisal Roslan and Tajali. Both went to Tanjong Pagar. I think those two are big misses for them. Right. So I think they can consider themselves quite happy with their round one results, but hopefully, they can get a better result. And to start off round two is a big club against Sailors, right? So it's gonna be a bit tough for them overall. You predicted a Sailors win, right?
Yep.
3-1?
3-1.
Okay, so we'll see how that goes. So Geylang International. Have you been impressed with Yamaya? Actually, before we move on
He's
to
shown
this one.
glimpses.
Yes.
I think coming in from the right side where he's played most games, I think.
He's played most games on the right.
I think he scored quite a few goals as well.
5.
Yeah, decent start to the season. I think he has more to give, given the quality he has. So hopefully he impresses this Sunday against Sailors.
Yeah, I think if Geylang wants to get a result, Yamaya will definitely have to score for sure, right? And Vini has to do some of his Besicott magic, right? Against quite a strong Sailors defense.
Well, I mean, they did beat Sailors last year.
Yeah.
Not only Masterclass.
3-1 3-1. They went down 1-0 and Jalan Besar, and then they came back, right? Hazuan with the equalizer, if I'm not wrong. So you can see, and a penalty for Zuzu. I think we were there live, right? We were there. All right, so next game we have Balestier Khalsa. I just gotta say that Balestier's offensive threat has been real impressive this year. I really love to see like the likes of Koza, Ho Wai Lun, Sugita, Daniel Go. They've got real good talent in the squad. But I think defensively that's where they struggle quite a fair bit, right? And as you can see on the screen, right, look at the results that reflects their form, right? They seem to score a lot of goals, but then at the same time they also concede too many goals. Yeah, so so they, DPMM, it was a thriller of a game. Taniguchi had his hat trick there, but then, losing 3-0 to the Sailors, losing 6-1 to Albirex, losing 3-1 to Tampines. I think, okay, those three results, I would say that was quite expected, right? And then, but then losing 3-0 to Geylang quite recently, I think that was a result that kind of hampered their form a bit, but then they came back to beat Tanjong Pagar last 2 weeks ago. So, Balestier, what are your thoughts about their attacking threat?
Yeah, I think I just counted. They scored 16 goals in 8-9 games. I think that's quite impressive.
Yeah, very impressive.
And they missed Hoshino in like 2 of those games. If I remember correctly. I think that was the Geylang game and the Young Lions game where they looked a bit poorer. Last game they actually were quite impressive. I thought Hoshino had a great game, but with the quality going forward, Taniguchi, Ho Wai Lun, Daniel Go, they've looked great this season, but defensively very, very questionable. And they've considered like I think average of maybe 3 goals a game.
Yeah.
Which is not good enough. I don't think they should have bought a foreign centre back. Even though a lot of people say Bruno is not that great, but they probably should have replaced him with a foreign centre back.
Yeah, for sure. Madhu and Emric has not been cutting out. I think Madhu has been quite shaky, especially with like a bigger striker. I think that can be a question mark for the defense.
Yeah, Sugita has missed. I think he missed first half of
the season.
Half of the
season. He only came back like I think against Young Lions, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, so he is a great player, but maybe you would have signed the foreign centre back over him.
Yep.
Maybe give McCoy a position, play left wing, see what he can do this season.
Because you're right. Sugita's a great talent, right, from Albirex, but then like you've got enough midfield, especially when you sign Koza as well, Ho Wai Lun in the midfield. I think maybe a defensive reinforcement would have been way better justified for Balestier. But then I think Lingesh has a good point. Says that you can give a lot of credit to them because they've been playing quite impressive football. Yeah, I think they play from the back quite well. Peter Deroux is trying to change the philosophy at Balestier. I mean, they are very nice kids. And hopefully that round 2 will be much more successful for them, right? With Taniguchi still banging the goals. I feel like Taniguchi will kind of like fade a bit. That's my prediction. Maybe Daniel Go or Hoshino can pick up the pace, but I do see Taniguchi kind of slowing down.
Yeah, well, I think they really do have to show up at the back. I mean, you can't outscore teams every game to win. Sometimes you just be content with the 1-0s, the 2-0s, the 2-1s. But once you concede 2 or 3 goals, it'll be very difficult to get results.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really hard press. Really, really hard press indeed. And so now we move on to our next team, which is Tanjong Pagar, right? Tanjong Pagar, you can see their form pretty shaky. I think mid round one they kind of got their footing quite a bit, right? They won Geylang, that was the good bounce back. They lost to D. I think they should have won 4 games on the trot, right? And they screwed up against DPMM. They were 1-0 up, and then I remembered uh Jack Fan saying that because of Jensen and whatnot, the officiating was quite bad in the game. But then they've been pretty unlucky, I would say. Even that Albirex game as well, they considered 2 goals, but the 2 goals were like quite sparsed out. So I think if I'm not, they scored in like the 5th minute, and then they conceded like the 89th minute. Right. So I think defensively they still look really good. And then Balestier, I think they should have got a draw at least. They were looking really shaky at the back, but I think the officiating was quite horrendous as well in that game. Tanjong Pagar, any standout players for you?
Oh, I mean, you would say Blake every season has a great season. Shakir has weighed in with the goals.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think, right, if you put Tanjong Pagar's defense and Balestier's offense,
they are going to be a top 3 team.
good team.
Yeah.
But I mean, Tanjong Pagar is a team that can defend. I can't really score that many goals as it seems.
They've got a very strong midfield as well. I do like Blake in the midfield with who's the other? Sugic. Yeah, Sugic. I think those two Vatula as well, those 3 has really impressed, and I think that's what has led to Tanjong Pagar being a bit more comfortable with with the ball, on the ball as well. But offensively they look pretty lackluster.
Yeah, I mean, you can't always be depending on Shaka Hamza to come out and score like Tajali with 1 goal out of nowhere, Khairul Amri to get the scissors kick. So I think that's probably the part that hopefully they've been working on the past 2 weeks.
Yep, I think they do need to have score more goals, right? But yeah, I think they are in a similar fate. I think if you look at 2 clubs, they are quite similar, right? Of all the 9 clubs, I think I would say Geylang and Tanjong Pagar are very similar play style.
Yeah.
Right, they resoundingly they play quite good football from the back. Defensively, midfield they're good, but offensively they struggle. Right, and they need a lot of their fullback presence to kind of take advantage of the width of the game, and then also like what you say, get goals from unlikely scorers, which you can't really be consistent if you keep needing goals from unlikely scorers in the team.
Yeah, you can't hope for like a Gareth Lowe 40-yard shot every game.
Yeah, a Gareth Lowe or like a Shakir Hamza kind of side scissors kick from the penalty. And this kind of things, it happens once in a while, but if you depend on it, I don't think you're going to get results from the games.
Yeah, you need that consistent scorer, and unfortunately, Marin hasn't really lifted up that yet.
Yeah, I think it's not lifted up indeed. So let's move on to our next team, which is Brunei DPMM. So Jensen said that just wait, we're going to be on fire in round 2. So I think we'll see. I hope you guys do well, Jensen, because I think a successful round 2 would be you eclipsing Geylang, right, and maybe go quite close to Sailors. I think that would be a very good bounce back from you guys, right? So we'll see, right? So next team we have DPMM. I think this one is going to be short and sweet. They're looking quite horrendous. Look at their form. Shouldn't have won against Tanjong Pagar. Convincing victory over Hougang, and then that's pretty much. And they drew against Young Lions as well. So
should have won as well.
2-0 lead. They consider what in the 87th and the 90th minute. So excuse me. So looking really, really bad for DPMM. Could it be because of their 3-year absence from the Singapore Premier League? Could be, right? But I think it's just the quality is not there for Brunei so far, right? Round 2, and also by the way, we've got updates that they're going to play in Singapore still. There were rumors that they're going to go back to Brunei for round 2, but I think it's just been confirmed that they're going to play in Jalan Besar, still in Singapore. And I think if Brunei has not really regressed that much from 2019 and they're struggling quite bad now, I think this is a testament to how Singapore Premier League has grown.
Perhaps also maybe because for the past 2-3 years they've been playing with a much lower standard.
Yep.
So obviously when you train, you want to train with the best to get to that
consistency,
standard, right?
Kind of playing more consistent, better football.
I mean, if you put it the other way around, if you train with lesser standard, your own standards might drop, and then maybe when you compare Brunei standard and Singapore standard, then that's where they have to start picking up again their own quality. But overall, yes, I do think that the SPL has improved.
Yeah.
And also perhaps their own players, some of them have gotten a bit older.
Yeah.
Maybe slowed down a bit, and
Bronkov.
Yeah, that's all played its part.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll move on. DPMM, hopefully that actually for some local league presence, I do want DPM to struggle actually. So So anyway, Lingesh said that honestly, if they continue like this next season, they may want to sit out, which is good for SPL that standards improve. I mean, I don't think they'll sit out, but yeah, I think overall, if they show this kind of quality and they were the champions in 2019, now they come back and they're like that. I think this is a true testament to how the league is growing that little bit, right, and showing that we can improve our football standards in the local Singapore Premier League. Anyways, we'll move on. Star player for them, Hakimi.
Hakimi and Voronkov has got a few stunners, but
Yeah,
he shows he has the quality, but slowed down quite a bit.
and then
last season.
the last game against Tampines Rovers, that penalty was a, oh my god, that was a shocker of a miss.
Happens to the best players.
Happens to the best, yeah. Hakimi, yeah. So Hakimi he's also pretty young, right? From around like 20 years old, and I think he's quite electric from the yep. Yeah, Hakimi. So that's Brunei's a young talent that they can look for in the future. Next one, we have Young Lions, which has kind of surprised us, right? Young Lions. Their form, it doesn't look so bad actually, because considering last year they were hammered like 10-1 from the Sailors, 7-2, all these kind of weird scorelines. Now they are giving respectable scorelines against the Singapore Premier League team, and they even got a victory against Hougang. Last two games they drew against DPMM and the Sailors. So Young Lions have been surprising a few, including us. I think they've been surprised. It's fair to say that they surprised us, right? Yeah. And yeah, I think it's true testament to the fact that the players, this squad of players, are gelling quite well, and also the addition of the Kobayashis. I think that has really shored up their quality in the midfield and the defense, right? Jacob Mahler back as well, pairing out with Kobayashi. I think their defense looks pretty good.
Yeah, the last 2-3 games with both of them. I mean, unfortunately, Jacob got sent off. Was it the Tanjong Pagar game? I think that's when Blake sort of just jumped over him in the second yellow card. But the last two games, Jacob and Kobayashi in defense have been really, really good.
Yes, very good indeed. And yeah, great comeback victory, both against a comeback draw against DPM and the Sailors, right? And their midfield, right, Kobayashi has been fantastic for them. Jared Gallagher in the midfield, and then Jordan Omaviwe. I think he's impressing quite a bit, right? C games maybe not so much, but hopefully the boys can get a result against Laos the next game. But yeah, let's see now. So let's move on to the next slide, which is the two big results, right? I didn't show the DPMM, but I should have shown the DPMM. But they've got results against Hougang, and then they've got Xavier, thanks for coming in. You have an exam tomorrow. Hey, go and study for exam. Good luck for exam, mates. Good to see you drop by for a while. Thank you, Xavier. And a huge draw against Sailors. You can consider Sailors were really lackluster in the day. And have you been surprised with Young Lions from the game round? Or
I've been won't say
like
surprised,
utterly surprised,
but been very impressed by how they've managed to keep in games that you would think that once they go behind early, they might struggle, such as the last game against Sailors, where they went behind early, but they really kept themselves in the game. And eventually, even though you would say the penalty was fortunate, I think they deserve the draw.
Yeah, they do. They do. And I think like what Lingesh has said, right? Like I think if they can sign one more senior player to lead the team, they only signed the Kobayashis, right?
Yeah.
So they could have signed one more if budget permits, probably.
I'm not too sure about that.
Yeah, so hopefully they can get a kind of like a veteran player to lead them. Maybe which position do you think they need to show up?
Striker.
Yeah, because
but I mean, as a developmental side, you want to develop your own strikers as well. So I mean, that is something they might have to consider.
Yeah, so JTC they can sign one more if they want. So I think they can possibly look at reinforcing the club, right? But I don't know, maybe budget won't permit, but maybe there's not much options. And also if you get a veteran player in, you're kind of like opportunity cost, right, with another young player that could play valuable minutes to grow his game, right? But star players that have been looking really good. I think the top three for me is Jacob Mahler. When he came back, he looks the real presence, change. You can see the change in the lineup. Jared Gallagher in the midfield, workhorse, and Kobayashi, those three.
Which Kobayashi?
Kan Kobayashi. June as well. Actually, June has played pretty good as well, with Jacob Mahler at the back, right? Oh, but yeah, you forgot that Zikos is also returning, right? He's from a long-term injury. So maybe Zikos can kind of show up.
Yeah, so I think that'll be good, to have a local playing up front to develop. But for me, the three would be both Kobayashis and Harry Stewart, actually. I think he's a very strong start this season.
I am so sorry. I totally forgot about Harry Stewart, Mr. Captain himself. Harry Stewart has been, great composure in the current midfield, and I think the three midfield pivot between him, Kobayashi, and Jerry Gallagher has proved quite successful for Young Lions. Yes, so great. Hopefully, round 2 can be even more successful for them. Maybe they can get a victory against your Geylang. I don't know. Maybe they can get a victory against your DPMM. Right,
Maybe.
so possibly. Last team we got Hougang United. Look at their form, looking pretty bad. Bottom of the table right now, but will you say that the lack of, I mean, Krajcek was injured during the Geylang game, if I'm not wrong, and he missed like 4 games, right? And now he's coming back, trying to ease back into his form. Yeah, I don't know, man. There were high expectations for Hougang this year. Preseason we did say that they're going to be like 4th, right? They could even pick 3rd, but they are looking far from that goal right now. They are right at the bottom. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say here. I'm like, I mean, we really kind of like why I have no words to say because we've really kind of like repeatedly hammered the points over week after week, right? But then again, they did draw against Tampines. It was quite a good victory, quite a good result for them after winning the game for like the 98 minute. Then after they considered the penalty, right? Do you see I mean, for Hougang, it's only looking up from here, right?
Yeah, well, you might say people. I mean, the report actually said that the decision to change the coach was made before the Tampines game.
Yeah.
So might even wonder if players were actually trying to impress a new coach
Possibly
during the Tampines game. Possible. First game they were fortunate to win. I thought Balestier, based on that, I think second half they're much better. Should have at least gotten a draw. Other than that, I think very, very disappointing.
Yeah.
What's been promising is in most games they haven't really gotten hammered, you would say.
Yeah.
Besides, of course, the Steelers game, where second half they just collapsed.
Yeah.
I think what's very worrying is the goals. The goals aren't coming. Defense has looked better than last season.
Yep.
I think.
Yeah, for sure. I think
but just offensively it's looked worse. And maybe you can put that down to Krajcek missing a lot of games.
Yeah, and also like
no Pedro. I don't know.
Their defense actually, I think it's their midfield more than anything, right? Their defense, Kaoru and Tezuka, and is it what's his name? Kaori and Tazuma. Both of them have been. Is it Tazuma? I think Kazuma. Sorry. So both of them actually look quite good at the back, right? It's just that their midfield and then their composure in the second half had looked pretty bad, right? Which has led to a lot of second half collapses, especially the first, from the Geylang game, the second half collapse. Young Lions also was another second half collapse, right? DPMM, I would say the whole game they were a bit atrocious. Tanjong Pagar was another second half collapse. Yeah. So Kazuma. Yeah. Sorry. So yeah, I think for Hougang, you can only look better from here on out. But the first game is against Albirex, which is not a good start for round 2 if you want to bounce back, right? And do you think that striker? Do you think that they have to play Gabriel up front because they look quite miserable at the front?
To be honest, I have no clue who I would play up front.
Yeah, I mean they most of the time they'll be playing Hazuan up front lah. Zach, resident of the show, says that they should play Brian Ferrer up front.
Honestly, I would. If I were them, I'll let Brian Ferrer go. And I would play Krajcek up front.
Yeah.
If I can't sign another foreigner.
Yeah.
I might even, let Ferrer go sign another midfielder, show up the midfield. Krajcek as a false 9. I don't think that's the worst idea in the world.
Yeah. Krajcek false 9 could potentially be
leave Hazuan and Gabriel on the wings. I don't think they are really strikers. They're much more suited for the wings.
True. Okay.
Sahil, I think he's better as a number 10.
Yeah. He's got high work rate and press rate, right? So I think as a number 10, he can kind of be a bit more influential, bring the ball up from the midfield, right? Strike force, he gets isolated quite a bit as a striker.
Yeah, I mean, last year I thought was Sahil's best season in years, and he played as number 10.
So apparently, Rehan, he watched the game. He says that, bro, Brian missed 2 golden chances at the under 21s game. Both shots can choose anywhere on the net, choose to keep goalkeeper. So you see, Brian Ferreira, pretty looking, people were hyping him up because he was an ex-JDT player, apparently a legend in the Indonesian scene. But then now, I think he looks really out of pace and out of quality in the Singapore Premier League. Yeah, so hopefully Krajcek can turn their fortunes around. He's easing back with form. And next game against Albirex, hopefully, if you guys can get a result, Hougang United, I think they can only look up from there. And so just maybe one more talking point is, do you think that Bran and Gabriel Clark has been very disappointing this year? Personally, I think we don't have to say this anymore. Bran for sure. But Gabriel, do you think that he's been? I think he's been a victim of like poor utilization so far, right? Coming off the bench, starting, and then he comes off at like 60th minute. So it doesn't bode well for a player to build his confidence. Not playing the full 90. Maybe he's not fit. I don't know. Right. So
yeah, I agree. I think in a lot of games, I think sometimes you see him on the left, sometimes you see him on the right, sometimes you see him in the center. It's just where do you want to use the players and how are you gonna build chemistry if like every game everyone's playing a different position. I think that's
the biggest
hard. So I think it's hard to put the blame on him per se, but we know his quality and he can do a lot more.
So Riyad said that game wasted chances against Tampines. He's supposed to shoot, but oh well. So you see, this is where a confidence, I think it's like what you say, right? It's a very confidence issue thing that's going on with Gabriel. But hopefully he can bounce back. He's a top quality player and Hougang needs him to step up so that they can get some goals banging for them in the near future. Next up, we have our team of the season. Should have been a bit more like a bit anticlimactic right now, but Josh, take it away. Why is your team of the season thus far?
Yeah, I mean, in goal I went with Hassan. To be honest, like I look across the board, there are keepers who have made a lot more saves for sure.
Zafan, I would say Kenji. Yeah,
they've
Kenji
made a lot more saves, but I think for Hassan, when you look at Albirex, they've considered 3 goals whole season. 5 clean sheets. I don't think he's made a single mistake. So I think he's had to do quite simple things, but he's done it very, very well. With a few stunning saves here and there. In defense, I think Milos has been the best ball playing centre back this season for me. And yeah, definitely deserves to be there. One of the signings of the season so far for sure. Yamashita has been very, very solid. I think what really stood out for me, these two against Albirex. They really shut out. Albirex have you can even say 6-7 quality attackers throughout the game, and they managed to shut them out. So I think,
and they didn't really have a good chance throughout the game.
Yeah, for that alone, they deserve to be there. And of course, you have put in an Albirex defender.
You got to put in.
Well. Kachi, I think he's been good at set pieces. He's been good with the ball as well. Look very solid figure, and to replace Kobayashi at the back, I think he deserves to be there. Kobayashi is there simply because of the influence he's had on the Young Lions team.
The impact. He's probably not the best midfielder option out there, but because of the impact that he has for Young Lions, I can see why you justify him as your.
And I feel that he's really letting Jared and Harish shine this season. I think 3 of them have been very, very impressive, even though Young Lions haven't had the most. I mean, they're second bottom of the table, but I think they've really showed spirited performances. I think Kobayashi is really one reason for that. They go down in games, but they don't get overrun.
They don't give up. They don't give up at all.
So he's there. Kyoga, I think we know what he's got, that quality, the way he passes the ball. I think, Tampines, you have a lot of midfielders. You have like Ian, you have Joel, you have Shah, you have Yasser. But the only player I think that rarely gets taken off out of all of those 4 or 5 is Kyoga. So that really proves how important he is to Tampines. The way he moves the ball, he's got a few goals. I mean, his goal against Sailors was great as well. So I think he's in there for me. I think the wings, you don't really have to say that much. I think he's going to be in most people's team of the season, Stian and Faris. Faris, when you look at him at Sailors and you look at him at now,
it's player reborn.
Looking at a completely different player. And, Boris has been disappointing this season. I think a lot of people would agree. So I think Faris has really stepped up in terms of goals. Maybe Boris has given him more space to do that as well. And Lestian, for me, he's the best player in the league.
I think quite a far shot. Yeah, I think he's not far shot, like quite a mile ahead.
He's level above everyone, I would say. He's the kind of player who can win games
but on his own.
Yeah. Maybe sometimes final ball has been lacking here and there, but his quality is undoubted. And every Sailors game I've watched, easily he's the man of the match. I think he has to be in there. Rico, I mean, in terms of output, maybe not the best so far, but he's in for me because every time I watch him, he gets you off.
It's like I think the 2 on the left, right, Maxim and Riku. It's more of like your eye test. Like if you just watch football for the first time, you see those two, you can see that kind of like presence and the kind of like what's that one looking for? Like that burst, right? Of the kind of skill and talent that they have. Riku has been fantastic for him.
Yeah, I mean, you see Eddie on the Yahoo show. I think you call him the clone of Mitoma, right?
Yeah.
So I think he's just a very exciting player. He has that quality. The goal, the outside of the foot goal or topok goal, whatever you call it, was great. So I think he's a very exciting player. I really contemplated putting in Razak ahead of him, but I think about it, which player would I rather watch and which has actually excited me more this season.
Raza is more of like a benefit of like the quality of players that plays around him.
Yeah.
That's why he's excelling. But I think Riku coming off again, Riku is kind of like an unknown commodity, right? But then Swan Army, the first week community, she was like, hey, you need to watch out number 9, Riku. I'm like, okay, I'll look out for him. But then when he came on for the community show, I'm just like, dude, this guy is freaking insane, man. Yeah. So Riku, I think worthy of the team of the season so far.
Yeah, Taniguchi, because he's the top scorer, because I think he's won games for Balestier on his own.
Yep.
I mean, he's not even playing as striker; he's playing like a centre mid.
Yeah.
And to be a top scorer in the whole league, I think
speaks volumes.
He's shown like left foot, right foot. He can strike the ball really well. I think he's improved from last season. I think he deserves to be there for round 1.
And he can be neutralized as a Singapore player if he wants to. I think he's like the fifth year quota is up for him now. So
I mean, we'll see if he is. I think it'll be good if he is, but you never know what's in his plans, what's in FAS's plans as well. And then up front, Seiya Kunori has been very, very impressive. I think people thought that Nari Lee will get in all of the goals, but it's actually been Seiya Kunori. First few weeks, everyone was talking about Riku, talking about Shuto, talking about Nari Lee, but I think Kunori last few games has been really, really good. Deserves to be in the
and now he's the top scorer of the league right now.
Oh, he has 8 and Taniguchi has 7. Okay.
So Seiya has looked very impressive for Albirex. Okay. So by the way, guys, I did promise an open discussion later, but I think the show has been running quite long. We didn't expect this show to be very long, so I think we're gonna forfeit the open discussion for today, because we've got work tomorrow. I'm so sorry. I do apologize for that. But yeah, do let us know if you agree with and disagree with our team of the season thus far. And I think this is I have no qualms over. It's not like something that is really like mind blowing that you added someone that I did not foresee coming. But Linkesh just has a good question. He says that why is Daniel Go not there? I also don't have Daniel Go in my team, but
I think my reply will be, who would you replace Daniel Go with?
Yeah,
to be honest,
on the right,
it will be very, very difficult to do so. He's shown glimpses of what he can do, but he's also shown a bit of inconsistency.
Yes.
Sometimes with his final ball, he gets into the position with his pace, with his speed. He has very good movement, but sometimes
the final ball is lacking.
Decision making, the finish, the cross is a bit lacking. So I think he does have a bit more to actually improve on, and I honestly wouldn't put him ahead of Faris and Lestian for sure.
Yep.
The only person you could, I don't think
Riku also maybe.
It'll be hard to argue to put him over Riku as well.
Yeah, fair, but you're absolutely right. I think the movement, I think because a lot of people see the kind of like electric play from him, from a young Singapore player, like, hey, he deserves to be part of the team of the season. But I think like what Josh rightly pointed out is the finishing, that final ball that's like, especially the the biggest one that was that caught my eye was against Sailors, right, in the 3rd minute of the game. I think Taniguchi played a nice through ball to him. All he needed to do was to not say round Zafan, but he just needed to lift the ball over Zafan, but pressure took over him and he just shot it straight at Zafan, right? 1-on-1 chance. I think you need to be clinical in that kind of positions, right? So before we move on to Zakri's question, let me go on to my team of the season. So George told me his team of the season, and I had to be a bit different, right? I don't want to follow him, right? So next up, we have my team of the season. Hopefully, I think mine's a bit more controversial. So let me start. So Hassan Sani, of course, a goalkeeper because 5 clean sheets, fundamental football, but he's not been tested much, but I think he's been solid for the best signing, one of the best signings for in the league so far. Defense, I have Milos Zlakovic. I think he's also been fantastic. I agree with Josh. Good ball playing centre back. He's got the size, he's got the presence, and he's got the kind of composure that you want from a centre.
Yeah, actually, I forgot to add, his role is actually really, really difficult because Glenn Quay most of the time is actually playing as a left winger.
Yes.
So it's similar to, it's a Premier League example, but similar to what Konate has had to do in recent weeks with
Mm.
Trent playing in midfield, right? So I think Milo's role is actually really, really difficult because he has to at times be both a centre back and left back at the same time.
Yep.
So I think really hats off to him, and I think testament that you've also put him
Testament.
in.
I think it's quite easy selection. You know, Tampines is only there's the reason why they're unbeaten and their defense looks really good because you know they shot up the back with Milos, right? And then a second set leading the back will be Super, right? He came in quite late. I think he came in only after game week 4, but after he came in, you can see the kind of composure at the back with the kind of leadership presence at the centre back role with Lionel. I think he deserves a shout to be in the team of the season thus far. Most of the games that Sailors have lost is not really his fault. You know, but he's been really good last minute tackles, commanding at the back. I think he's, you know, assured for what's his name? What's the coach name?
Risto.
Risto.
Yeah.
You can't we keep saying Riku, so you see now I'm
Risto.
right? So it's a great assurance and a great insurance policy for Risto Vidakovic. Here we go, that's the name. I'm so sorry, lads. Right centre back, I've got Irfan Najib. I think he just got his first call up against Hong Kong for Singapore national team, rightly so. I think, you know, you did point out that Milos has a hard role. I also believe that Irfan Najib, when Tampines builds the play from the back, he's kind of like their emergency centre back at the back, you know, especially during their corners and set pieces because they will bring Shuya and Milos up front. Irfan Najib steps back as the main centre back, and then, you know, he builds the play up really well. You know, before Albirex game, I did tell you that Irfan Najib, I told JT that Irfan Najib is going to have a tough time against like the likes of Riku, Kinori, you know, but he had a fantastic game. Right.
Yeah,
So
I agree. I think he doesn't have to do a lot of the attacking stuff, but when he has the ball, he actually plays it very well. He's very good on the ball, and he's also a threat from set pieces.
Yep. So I think Irfan Najib well-deserved call-up for him for the national team, and he's worthy of a team of the season so far for me in this round 1. Right. Centre mids I see. So I've got even though we've in before the stream. Okay, so centre mids I have the likes of Asahi Yokokawa, which is the captain for Albirex. You know, every time I watch Albirex, I'm really impressed with what Yokokawa brings off the field, off the ball. On the ball, he's very steady, he's very assured, but off the ball, he gives that link up play for Albirex, and he's been fantastic as their captain. I think that's why it's, you know, a great testament to why they are the league leaders in the round 1 for Singapore Premier League as well.
He's very versatile as well. There are games where he moves to right back. Sometimes he moves to centre back, centre mid. I've been very impressed by him as well.
Yeah. So that's my centre mid. And then to pair up, I was actually deciding to go with Kobayashi as well because of the impact he has of a young Lions. But I'm going for another option here. I think I'm going for Hamish Shahin. Hamish Shahin, I think, you know, he was last year he didn't play much, and then this year he's got a starting 11 role, and he's been out of his, you know, the first touches. You know, sometimes yes, his stature's a bit small, but the kind of composure that he needs to play with Haris Harun, you know, lacking a bit of fitness, and Hamish Shahin has been absolutely world class for Sailors in the midfield. You know, sometimes they get overrun, but I won't say it's all to his fault. But great centerpiece to build for the Sailors in the midfield.
I'm surprised you didn't go for Anu. What is your favorite player?
Oh dear, Anu, what, you want to classify him as a centre back or a centre mid?
I mean, it looks like a center. Okay, it's hard to say, really.
Yeah, it's really hard to say because I think like Anu, a lot of managers see him as like, okay, he's a good destroyer of the ball, but then he doesn't really contribute much going up, you know, with his passing and whatnot and his quality on the ball. So that's why a lot of people like to play him centre back or like a defensive mid role. But Hamish Shahin, you know, he tracks really well. He's got you know, a great touch on him. You know, when every time the ball comes to him, he's expected of brilliance from it. And sometimes he's got, you know, that first touch is a thing of a beauty, right?
He's been the best out of Sailors centre mids.
Put
it that way.
Put it that way. I think that's quite easily said. Who is the centre mid for Sailors so far?
Adam Swandi. Harun. Anu's played maybe some games there.
Hafiz not most of the time on the wing.
Yeah.
So yeah, Adam Swandi also can't really crack the lineup because of Hamish Shahin. If Hamish Shahin wasn't there, I think Adam Swandi will be starting with Haris Harun.
You could even say Diego, but it's more of a number 10.
Yeah, Diego, number 10. Okay, so wings, I do not want to waste too much time. Okay, so actually front 5, only one player is different. I won't go through the rest, but the only one that is different for me is, you know, when I was looking at Riku, I was like, I can't really justify putting him because he's been an impactful player, but not really been consistent. Not to his fault because of the fact that he's not been playing that much. So I had to go for Vincent Bezecourt. And I think this is similar, a bit biased from my end, but I think because the impact that he has for the Geylang, if he doesn't play for Geylang, I don't think Geylang is going to score any goals, right? He's been instrumental in linking the play up for Iqbal, for Yamaya, right, up front. And yeah, he's their go-to guy up front to kind of get the goals and to be the um, facilitator for all their goals up front.
Got them the win against Hougang as well,
Yeah.
right? So I think really has a very, very strong impact on Geylang's team. And when I see them play the games that they actually do well or win, he tends to have very good games in those.
He has to have a good game. So that's why, like this Sunday against the Sailors, if Geylang wants to have a good game, both Yamaya needs to score a goal and Bezecourt needs to play out of his mind, right? You know, against the likes of Hami Shahin, Lionel Tan, Super, right? So I think it's going to be a tough challenge for him, but a great player with great quality for Geylang to depend on, right? So that is our team of the season thus far. Any disagreements, any agreements, let us know. So this is my team of the season. I would say, will you disagree with any of my picks here?
I mean, I can see why you've chosen them.
Yeah.
Maybe Super.
Okay.
I'll definitely go with Yamashita or Kawachi instead.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got your reason. I think you've justified it quite well. I can see the two centre mids have actually been really impressive to me too.
Yeah.
Maybe Bezecourt.
Yeah, Bezecourt is a bit of a biased pick.
It's a bit of a biased pick, I would say. Okay, besides Riku, I might even give Abdul Razak a shot. Coming from Young Lions, you know, most people thought Kodai have a good season, but you know, to replace Kodai and to actually score like, is it 5 goals he's got? I think it's Abdul Razak deserves a shot. But I can see why you've chosen Bezecourt besides the Geylang bias. I don't think when he plays well, Geylang.
Yeah, it's the impact.
It's the impact.
Yeah. So Riyad say why there Super instead of Kazuma? I mean, you can make a fair shout. Kazuma has been actually quite good, but Hougang's results can't really reflect his performances quite well.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately football is a team game, and if your team concedes, like, I have no idea how many goals Hougang conceded, but it's been quite a number, so it would be hard to justify, I would think.
Yeah. So with that's our team of the season so far. I think that's gonna be kind of, we're gonna tune down for the stream. I think that's gonna be the outro already. Let's go through with one more thing, right? Who has been your most impactful signing so far in this season? Right, Josh. Let me.
When you think about it, actually, almost the whole Albirex team are signings.
Yeah, that's fair because they're all like new players coming into the system, right? But you got likes of Hassan Sani, you got likes of Milos, you got likes of Faris Ramli, Super. I don't know if you want to put Super in. So Milos, you think in your pick?
I mean, I think I can see why that would be a good shout, but I think I'm going to say Faris Ramli.
Okay. I think Rehan also agrees with you. Faris Ramli, obviously, he put, right?
So I think so. You know, when you look at him last season at Sailor, and you look at him now as like a completely different player.
Yeah.
And I think when Tampines did it, they knew his potential and were hoping that he could recreate what he's capable of at Tampines, and
he's doing that right now with Tampines Rovers. I think that's a great signing for him. You know what? For me, so Faris Ramli for you, I'll go with Hassan Sani. You know, although he's not been doing much at the back behind the sticks, but I think to command a team, especially Japanese players that I would say they struggle with the English language, they're probably learning it. You know, Hassan Sani has to kind of adapt himself into the team. I think it clearly shows that, he's got a good command of the back line, and that's why he's got 5 clean sheets so far in the league, right? So I would say Hassan Sani for myself, right? And so that's been our 2 most impactful signing thus far. We won't go with flops because I think it's quite obvious who the flops are. So everyone can kind of make their own assumptions, right? And with that, I think we're going to end the stream soon. I'm so sorry that we kind of promised open discussion today, but it was kind of a long stream that we did not prep for. You guys agree with our team? I'll post the team of season post on Instagram so you can guys see whether you agree or disagree with our picks. I think it's going to be people are going to comment on it and going to disagree with some of our picks, I would imagine. Like Daniel Go not in the team, I don't know. And so we are looking forward for game week 10. I think we'll be there for one of the games at least. I think we'll be there for Geylang and Sailors, right? So Chiwe says, Chialat, seems I joined too late. No, it's okay. It's okay. You can always rewatch it or you can join us for another stream. It will be happening weekly anyways, right? So glad everyone has, joined us on this stream. We do appreciate it. Josh, any closing thoughts from your team on the season, or are you looking forward for some football back in Singapore?
I think I'm looking forward to football being back. It's I think a bit messy, the schedule.
Yeah.
I think because there have been some changes here and there. But overall, tomorrow Tampines is playing. And then Sunday will be at the game. I think Sailors Geylang is going to be a very, very good game.
Yeah. Geylang,
Geylang.
So yeah, I think Geylang versus Sailors will be a cracker of a game. Tomorrow, actually, I also think tomorrow's Tampines Balestier game could be a sleeper game to watch, because like what you said, Tampines maybe coming off a long break, maybe they'll be a bit rusty. Balestier just comes out guns blazing, right? And you never know, maybe a result could be taken from that game. With that being said, we are going to conclude this stream. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We do appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoy this weekend's game of football. If you guys are going for the games, do let us know, and maybe we can come and say hi, talk a little bit of football off the at the stadiums itself. Do check out our jersey review. Hope you guys enjoyed that kind of content. I don't know whether you guys agree with our jersey review content. This is the from best to worst. Balestier, the banging a nicer kit. Followed by Albirex, followed by it. So Geylang Gaylors. All right, man. Here we go.
At least you came for that.
At least you came for that. Yeah, so at least you came for Geylang Gaylors lah. You see, sometimes a little bit rusty from the end. So with that, we thank you for your time. We appreciate it, and we'll see you guys at the games. Right? I also do look out for the vlogs. I think the vlogs will be making a instant comeback in a while. Yeah, so we do look forward for that. Say lang. Oh, you throwing some dig at me, but it's all good. It's all fun and banter here. So either ways, thank you very much, guys. Have a good night. And again, I do apologize that we don't have the open discussion today, because today's stream was going a bit too long. But we do appreciate your presence here. So with that, we'll conclude the stream. Thank you guys. Take care, and see you guys for the next stream. Cheers.